Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin is one crucial level of resistance away from approaching a potential all-time high. What is the current price action telling us, and when will we see the next move to $70,000? Let's dive into the video today to go over the short time frame analysis, the macro charts, as well as the upcoming weekly candle close. Before we do that, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel down below to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and ring that notification button so you never miss an episode. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel for daily Bitcoin updates, as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trade setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving right into the charts here, we're on a 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin. And so let's go ahead and talk about what's happened in the last couple of days before we dive into our analysis. So in my last video, we were still very much in an uptrend. This is the uptrend over here that started on the 16th of July. And for a moment there, it was looking pretty strong, right? We were seeing a lot of bullish absorption around this area over here, despite the fact that Bitcoin was going down. Upon retesting the trend line, we had bounced just a little bit, and then at 6:50 on Thursday morning, we had some Mt. Gox news come out. And so we all know what happens when Mt. Gox kind of enters the scenery. We get a lot of fear and uncertainty and kind of panic selling. So we pretty much immediately lost the uptrend there. It was a pretty brutal crash downwards, and we went right down to this next key level of support here at $63,000 to $64,000, this green rectangle. It also confirmed the development of a broadening descending wedge pattern over here on the charts. So that's a pretty common pattern that we see when the price looks like it's topped out. We see a broadening descending wedge, and then we generally do get a bullish break from that. So it's a very good reversal pattern, pretty common. And after developing that, after testing the bottom of that pattern structure there, that base trend line here, we ended up bouncing. So we moved right up to this next level of resistance here between $67,000 to $67.7 thousand. We actually caught this entire move in the VIP trading channel. So if you guys want to check that out, you definitely could. We had, I think it was like 66% profit over a 24-hour period on the trades. It was very, very good. And if you want more details, you can message me on Telegram for membership options. So Bitcoin is currently just hovering above this level of resistance here at 67.8. And let's go ahead and dive into our short time frame analysis. So moving into this next little segment of price action here, where we're above this new level of resistance and we're kind of trying to establish it as a base of support, we have a couple sort of scenarios that are bullish or bearish. But broadly, we can kind of conceptualize this next phase of price action into three distinct categories. And so essentially, above this level over here, above $67.7 thousand, this key level of resistance, we are generally in bullish territory, right? If we establish it as a base of support, a new higher established base of support, we should have enough strength to continue pushing upwards, obviously with some more little validations in between, which I'll go about in more detail in a second. But generally above 67, that is our bullish case scenario, right? Just broadly speaking. And then below 67,000, this base, the base of that level of resistance, but above our current key horizontal level of support, right? The same one that took us right up to this level that we're currently sitting at. Above that level at 63, we are in somewhat of a neutral territory. So even if the price falls downwards and we retrace to test that trend line over here, which is a very possible scenario, even if it's not essentially likely right now, it's a possible scenario. If we do that, you know, it isn't suggestive of a much larger correction, okay? Support is support until it's not. And while we hold $63,000, which is a really significant level that I spoke about it a lot in my last video, but while we hold that level of support, there is still a high potential for a bullish continuation back upwards. It just means that we might see a larger area or a larger time frame of consolidation before we see enough strength to push the price back above 67. Now, moving below $63,000, that is when our bearish case scenario comes into play, right? The $63,000 level represents the 50-day moving average on the macro charts. It is also the midline of our high time frame structural pattern, right? We can see it on the 12-hour or the daily time frame, that bull flag pattern that we're in. It's the midline of that. So falling below $63,000 tells us that approaching this midline and falling below, we obviously have a much higher probability of seeing these range low retests as opposed to a range high retest, because we're much closer to that bottom end. And as you know, the price drops and it gathers that bearish momentum, we're more likely to see that scenario play out. So that's the broad sort of context of where the price is sitting right now. So gathering this 67k level as a base of support would be exceptionally crucial for this next bullish continuation. So let's go ahead and dive into that bullish case scenario in a little bit more detail. If we take a look at how the price is currently reacting to that 67k level, we can see that overall it's actually looking pretty good. So let me just zoom in a little bit. So overall, right, we can see we've retested that 67 base a couple of times, and each time the price has bounced and sustained above this level. So we should have a 4-hour candle close above this 67k level. I know we've had a daily candle close above this level as well. Right, so overall, it does look like we are really in the middle of establishing it as a base of support. Only time will tell, though. We do need to see just a little bit more strength. If we go over to the daily chart, for example, I would like to see a retest of that 67k on the daily chart and a bounce or some sort of bullish continuation here on the higher timeframes, because it is a quite strong level of resistance, as you guys can see. So moving into the 1-hour time frame. So establishment of support, that is the first step. But what we really need to see in terms of a bullish continuation here and a guaranteed move upwards is a break above our bullish trigger here, our horizontal bullish trigger at 68,400. I've drawn in that green line for you guys to see. And the reason why that is our bullish trigger point is because it is our prior range high, right? It was the prior high that we've just projected on before we formed our downtrend, and so it is the same high that we need to break above to suggest an increase in strength, a surge in strength, and a move to retrace these upper levels of resistance over here. So if we take a look as well at this current reaction to 67, we can see a little bit of bullish absorption here on the RSI, right? We've got increased selling pressure at this level, but the price is overall heading in that upwards, generally upwards trajectory. So that is a sign of strength, guys. It does look like we should be holding it as a base of support. But RSI, bullish absorption on the hourly isn't always very strong, guys. Like, I wouldn't use this as a signal to long, for example. Your upside risk, your upside potential right now before we break that horizontal level at 68.4 compared to your downside risk is not very good. That's probably even like a 1-to-4 ratio. So that doesn't look very good for a position right now. It'd be quite risky. Definitely be waiting for a break of 68.4 and a break of that at least on a 4-hour time frame to show that we've really broken above and sustained that level for at least some sort of, you know, considerable time frame before achieving that next move. Now, in that bullish case scenario, in the bullish continuation to 70k, which is that next target, if we zoom out on the 12-hour time frame, we can see here and pull up the VRPV that between $70,000 and that next key level here at 72k, we do have a little bit of a gap in the volume profile. So what we should be looking for here is a retest of $70,000. And in that retest, if we manage to get that daily candle close above this level here, the price should move to fill that gap. And that means a pretty rapid retracement up to this next level here at $72,000. So we have a couple key bullish triggers here to be looking out for, and that really overarches the entire bullish case scenario there. That's really what to be looking for. Now let's really quickly go over that bearish case scenario really quickly in a little bit more detail. So I told you guys that the 63k level of support is that key level that we need to be really holding in terms of any sort of neutral to bullish case. But really, what you need to be looking for is this sell side liquidity level here, that green line at 62.3. If we fall below this neutral territory and we retest 63, we have still held it as a base of support until we lose 62.3. That will be our immediate bearish trigger, and in that circumstance, the price should then move to that next level of support. You can see that gap here on the VRPV, guys, and that is $60,000. That's just in case. Just wanted to mention that in case we do see a flash downwards, who knows what can happen, really. No one can read the future. But there we go. That's the short time frame analysis for you guys. Let's move over onto what this break would mean in terms of a macro scenario. Let's move over onto our daily chart. Before we get into any more analysis, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, Bitunix. Bitunix is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. Alrighty guys, so moving into a slightly higher time frame, we're in that daily chart over here. So at the start of my video, I spoke about this next crucial move being the start of a potential all-time high, right? A new all-time high. And the reason why I said that was because of our current macro structure. So I've talked about this a couple of times in my old videos, so I don't really want to mention it over and over again. But as you guys can see here from this chart, we are in a bull flag pattern, right? We've had a prolonged bullish rally followed by an extensive period, a 5-month period here of sideways to downwards consolidation, where we've had consistently lower highs here on the upper high range retest, and we've had consistently lower lows on these range low retests, right? And a bull flag pattern, as you guys can probably guess from the name, is a bullish pattern. It should lead to an extensive bullish rally, considering we break above the upper trend line of the pattern structure over here, and that is at $70,000. So that is why that next move, guys, to 68,400, that bullish trigger that we have on the short time frame, is so important, right? Because that is what we need to see for another retest of this upper trend line since June, right? We haven't seen such a massive move to retest that range in a very long time. And the reason why this particular retest is so important is if we have a look at the daily chart over here, we can see that for the first time in this 4 to 5 month period, we have actually seen enough of a bullish momentum shift, a massive shift in buying pressure to break us out of this very high time frame RSI downtrend. And RSI generally front runs the price action a fair bit, especially on these high time frame charts. So what this tells us is at this next point where we retest this downtrend that we have here on the price action, we have a much higher likelihood of breaking outwards than we have had in the last 4 or 5 month period, right? So that is exceptionally bullish, guys. And so obviously in that break, the first thing that we need to see is a move above that prior high within that descending channel, that $72,000 trigger point that I talked about just before in that short time frame analysis. And upon the break of that prior high, obviously, we have a little bit of resistance at the all-time high. Not a little bit, actually, probably a lot of resistance at $73,000. But above that, above this next bullish trigger, what we can expect is a move that is potentially as large as the measured move of the bull flag pattern. So for those of you guys that don't know, the measured move of a bull flag pattern is the height of the flag. You can also take the height of the flagpole as well, but I think in this particular circumstance that is exceptionally optimistic. I don't think Bitcoin is going to be making such a large move. I think just see how it goes as of, as of that period of time. If we approach that first measured move at $85,000 and it looks exceptionally bullish and we continue rallying, then we know the next measured move is potentially that height of the flagpole, taking it to around 105,000. So very, very large bullish move there. That first target, I would say, is 85K. Right, so that is that major high time frame bullish target that we have right now in terms of the fulfillment of this pattern. Zooming out one last time onto the weekly chart, there is one last thing that I did want to point out to you guys, and that is the upcoming weekly candle close. Now, the price of that close isn't, all that important. I would say if we manage to hold this 67K level, that would be obviously spectacular. But what I really wanted to talk about on this weekly chart for that next coming close, it's in less than 2 days now, and 1 day and 23 hours on Monday morning, or Monday for us in Australia, we have the potential to be seeing a breakout of this huge RSI downtrend over here on the weekly chart. So again, guys, just like it represents on that daily time frame, that massive shift in the RSI and getting that candle close above that level, we can see it's retracing it right now, just trying to break up, but obviously we have to wait for the close. Would be an insane sign of strength, right? It vastly increased the likelihood of us actually breaking out of this upper downtrend within that bull flag pattern over here and getting that continued bullish trajectory, right? If we don't manage to do that, it suggests to us that, despite the strength that we're seeing on that daily time frame and on the shorter time frame breaking through $67,000, it may be a little bit more time before we see that reflected enough on the macro charts to suggest an actual strong break here and an actual confirmation of macro bullish trajectory there, because that's really what we're aiming for right now in terms of that high time frame bullish trajectory of $85,000. So that's definitely something to be looking out for in that next couple of days, guys. Alrighty, guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel down below. And if you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. If you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trade setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to Bitunix to get 15% off all of your trading fees and $5,500 in sign-up rewards. Hope you guys have a really great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!